Some of the things that I think at a systems level are really important, that it's pretty simple to comprehend. A lot of these schemes and other schemes before that were, about individualised family support that might have been more limited, got so complicated and over-bureaucratised very, very quickly. So I think the simpler that whole process can be and comprehensible to families. Families are at different stages and places. So one of the pieces of work we did was with families who'd been in a very, very traditional service for a very long time and had really not known anything other than having a very traditional service, and this is what we offer, and it was all in the one service. And so the whole idea of choice and making your own decisions was really not something that they had thought about a lot or thought even was possible. I think the stuff that hinders is definitely that tendency of bureaucracies to, entrap people. And also inherent in that is often this incredible risk aversion that people have. And we see that if there's any hint of fiscal constraint, suddenly your choices aren't as many or they're a little more limited. And they're all things, if we're doing this in Australia on a really big scale, that will be really important to safeguard that. How do we preserve real choice and real control? I think we have fabulous policy and how it's written and the principles and what's enshrined in it and what the goals are and what we're hoping for. Where a lot of it seems to come unstuck is how we actually implement the policy. And I think that's the stuff that's hard in how do you actually operationalise those sorts of concepts like choice or those sorts of goals and aspirations. In some respects, the implementation of that requires really good people. You've got to have people who really believe in this. And we've, certainly in our work, we've found real champions for this self-direction and how to support families and journey with them, and others where there are still really based in old cultures. The bigger the scheme, the more complex it becomes in that, and there'll always be that tendency we must standardise everything. We must, and this isn't about that. This really has to come back to individuals and families. What's really helpful is to have some dedicated efforts to family leadership and leadership development, and that could be just in terms of families mentoring other families. It could be around forming collectives or little groups in different parts of the country so those families can come together. What we found really powerful is just having families come and present and tell their stories. That can be life-changing for other families. So in a lot of the work we've been doing, that's central to research symposia. We always have families who can talk about the lived experience of, what was that like? Sometimes that's about helping other families or people think, oh, wow, I could do that, or I hadn't even thought of that. And others, it's really also, I think, helpful when families can talk about the struggles that they've had and what was helpful to them. Across all of that, we've got a number of agencies in Australia, and I know you do here, of organisations that are really do that work and have journeyed with families and people with disability for a long time. And I think having them able to work together across the different states, that will be really important in my country, as we have now moving to this big national scheme, and we've been quite disparate. So opportunities for families to take leadership roles, finding ways to support families, to go to events, to and it's like just continuing the building of a movement, but it's around a specific kind of approach with self-direction.